they didn't meet in person, but they had a long correspondence, like also me and Angel Sierra. We are not acquainted with each other, yes, but we see each other a lot in Zoom, also with Anshita. Maybe later we can meet together and even dance together. I'm just joking, okay, but you understand. But now we only are a friends, pen friends, yes, or Zoom friends, we can say. So me and Kant were pen friends. They had only wrote letters to each other. But this correspondence is very important now. So you can study it and even develop. Yingfei, please shut down your microphone for a moment, uh, because there's some noise going from your. I will later ask you about China, if you just in a couple of minutes, okay? I will just finish with Mill because it is interesting how Mill reacted to Kant's philosophy. Of course, Mill was more skeptical, like David Hume, for example. Englishmen are always sort of characterized by a lot of skepticism. So when their correspondence came to an end, when Auguste Comte proclaimed himself a high priest of the religion of humanity. So for John Stuart Mill, it was too much, okay? So he thought that perhaps something went wrong with Auguste Comte, and so their relations sort of were like never resumed after that. But for a long time, they were very close pen friends and exchanged opinions on a lot of subjects. What is specific about John Stuart Mill? Well, three things. First, liberty. Then, second, inductive logic. Logic. And the third is utility or utilitarianism. Well, I will just say utility. Utility. What is utility? So, utility is also positivistic idea. So you should regard everything according to its utility. For example, if this drug really helps in curing disease, then we say uh, this is the drug. We can say speak about the utility of this drug. Okay, utility. So also utility of even of theology. So there was an article of John Stuart Mill about the utility of religion and utility of theology. Well, Mill said that perhaps religion fosters relations between people. Some, especially Christian religion, fosters high moral levels. So we can speak about the utility of religion. But every, even religion, have to pass an exam of utility or sort of lack of utility. Okay, so you should judge everything whether you can use it or well utilities has a synonym, usefulness. Yes, I think it is more known for you. Yes, utilities a little bit sounds Latin. Usefulness, usefulness. Okay, so everything should be regarded whether it is useful or not. So this is a positivistic attitude towards life. If you and everything should prove its usefulness. Otherwise, it would be discarded. Okay, so I must prove my usefulness for you. Well, how can I do it? Well, I will say that I am attended by 11 people today. So these people voluntarily joined my seminar. So it is the sign that my seminar is useful for them, because they otherwise they would find other occupation. So this attendancy, okay, is a sign of a usefulness. But if I will go so in my Zoom and find nobody, then you say perhaps your seminars are not useful. People find another occupation in this Saturday evening, okay? Saturday evening, yes? Maybe they prefer to watch TV or a football match, or maybe go to a nightclub, okay? So, or to the laboratory. So, this is the problem. This is the test of utility. Also, inductive logic. Also, it is very positivistic. So, uh, we should argue from experiment, from empiricism, from facts, from facts to like abstract formulas. So don't start from abstract theories, but start from concrete facts. So this is the principle of inductive logic. This is a principle, of course, of Francis Bacon, of whom we spoke, I think, 3 weeks earlier. So this is a development of Bacon's initiative. And the third thing is liberty. Liberty should be the basis of this positivist society. And this is the main difference between Mill and Kant, because Kant put much stress on discipline, on calendar, on religion of humanity. He called himself a high priest. And if you call a person a high priest, then you have to obey this high priest. So there's no liberty. With Mill, Mill preferred this concept of liberty, which I think goes not very well with religion, because every religion has commandments, okay? For example, the religions of the Jews and also of Christians have 10 commandments, okay? What is a commandment? It's not liberty. You are not free to kill a person because it is a commandment. Thou shalt not kill, okay? So you shouldn't kill. This is a sin. And to commit a sin, you have no liberty to commit a sin, okay? So according to religion, liberty is restricted. And John Stuart Mill was afraid that this religion of humanity, which was introduced by Kant, will diminish the liberty, okay? Also, the problem with which John Stuart Mill worked very much was the rights of women. Uh, rights of women. Why this problem was so important? Uh, Now it seems curious that um, this we have Anshita, we have Maria, I think, yes, somewhere. Zaychinoka, yes,
Yes.
and we have another Maria. Um, yes, so we have a lot of women, and there's no problem that they work along with men in our laboratories and study with us high mathematics and physics and so on. But in the 19th century England, there was still a big problem. Female education, female voting, even women were prohibited to vote. Now we see before our eyes the uh, presidential elections in the United States, and it is self-evident that for us that women take part in the elections along with men. But when the United States were created, women were not allowed to vote, okay? It appeared later. So now, of course, only historians know these facts. But in the times of John Stuart Mill, it was a burning problem. And so John Stuart Mill he was a member of the parliament for some years, and he used his intellect, his political connections to promote the rights of women. And this is why all women remember him with gratitude. Well, if they know his contribution, you can read Simone de Beauvoir, the book called The Second Sex, which which is called the Bible of Feminism. Simone de Beauvoir. Uh, well, maybe some of you know this name, Simone de Beauvoir. She wrote the book in French, but it was translated into English and into Russian, The Second Sex, where she praised very much the contribution of John Stuart Mill in the for his like activities for the benefit of women. Okay, so well, of course, John Stuart Mill was not included in positivistic calendar, but positivistic calendar is a concept which you can develop yourselves. You can introduce new names, and well, de facto, okay, in reality they are introduced. So now when we have we study different we study how would you say history of culture, so we sort of highlight the contributions of certain men and women to the development of mankind. We build monuments to them, we mark their anniversaries, and this is more or less how to say, we follow the lines which were introduced by Auguste Comte. Okay, so this is this mentality, I would say, positivistic mentality, so sort of permeates our culture. Okay, this is this is an important, and we should sort of praise Auguste Comte for his initiative in creating this atmosphere. Okay, now we have only left what is left is Herbert Spencer. He's an Englishman also as John Stuart Mill, and he is very much known for his idea of social Darwinism. Well, what is that? Social Darwinism. Darwinism. Well, just have a look at what is that. Maybe, oh, I wrote it not correctly. Social Darwinism. Yeah, okay. Now it's more or less, it's better. You remember Charles Darwin and his famous two books. Well, of course, he wrote more than two books, but we remember him first of all for his Origin. We call it just Origin, just briefly, and Descent. Or the Origin and the Descent. So what is the origin? The origin of species and the by natural selection and the survival of the privileged races in the struggle for life, something like that. I forgot the exact. But what is important is that natural selection and struggle for life, these are present in this book, The Origin of Species. Preservation of the favored races in the struggle for life. You see, preservation of the favored races in the struggle for life. This is the full title of this book, The Origin of Species, which appeared in 1859. And 12 years later, in 1871, appeared another book, very important book of Darwin, The Descent of Man, and this selection in relation to sex. So what is that selection and what is sex? So there are four major concepts. So struggle for life, natural selection, selection in relation to sex, and also survival of the fittest. So, well, I would say these are concepts which Spencer introduced into human society. Well, why did we can say why did Darwin not dare to introduce this concept into a human study of the human society himself? Why? Because Darwin said, I'm only a naturalist. I write about things that I know by experience. I never studied human societies. So I'm not a specialist in human history or in human sociology, sort of human politics. So I was always studying plants, birds, fish, and animals. I don't know how the human society works, whether it works on my principles or some other. It should be confirmed. But Spencer boldly sort of generalized the principles of Darwin to the work of human society. For example, capitalism. What is capitalism according to Darwinian perspective? It is the survival of the fittest, but the fittest in a capitalist sense. So there is competition, okay, between different capitalists, between different enterprises, and some are ruined, some are prospering, and also in science. You can also look at science as a field of competition. So all of you compete for foundations, for grants, for fame, for, you understand. So for publications in prestigious journals, and everywhere there's struggle, there's competition. Sometimes it's artificially sort of ignited, that people say, well, I will make a choice between 3 or 4 or 10 candidates. So you should display your abilities and I will choose. So it is just the same with what happens with the Darwinian perspective. For example, when say uh, different, well, say, what is this selection in relation to sex? It means that there is some competition of males to possess a female, okay? So the best, who is the strongest, is the say the uh, uh, how to say, the strongest individual, that he will sort of have this woman, okay, be it a bird or a fish or uh, everything, or a mammal. This doesn't make difference. And Spencer says, well, perhaps the same situation exists in human society. Well, Darwin himself was very reluctant to say so, because if he proclaimed it, it will put in danger the values of marriage. And marriage in Victorian society, I mean in 19th century England, was how to say, treated as something very precious, okay? Marriage. Darwin himself was a faithful husband, and him and his wife had 10 children, okay? 10. I mean, Darwin, Charles Darwin himself. Maria, uh, Maria, I forgot your surname.
Molchanova?
Molchanov, yes.
Yeah.
You remember that Darwin had 10 children.
I just found out it right now.
Okay, but you are not going to have 10 children.
No.
No, so something has changed.
Uh, yes, exactly.
Yes, and Spencer was the initiator of these changes, because he put it this way, that uh, so sort of males should compete for your hand. and you will select as your future husband the best man, okay? The most talented, the most wealthy, the most physically fit and strong, okay? And this will lead to progress, okay? So for Darwin, it was only, he described this situation in the animal world, but he didn't dare to sort of, how to say, expand it to the world of humans, okay? So now Spencer said how he dared to do it. And so now we speak about also the social Darwinism, okay? So this is something different. And of course, it is combined with the rights of women. If women were not at liberty to select the husbands, then of course there will be no selection in relation to sex, okay? So just your parents would decide whom you will marry, okay? Maria, yes, you understand. So in the 19th century, it was a question of parents. Your parents, how to say, agreed with the parents of your future husband, and they will say, well, this is a good mate for you. This is a good choice. Please, Maria, obey your parents. Otherwise, we'll disinherit you, okay? You understand? So it was
Yes,
very
I
strict.
got it.
Yes, yes. And so in the 19th century England, I mean, it's called Victorian England because at that time, Queen Victoria reigned England for 60 years, okay? So this second half of the 19th century was called Victorian Age after Queen Victoria, okay? That's it. And Queen Victoria herself promoted this strict morality. And there was non-fashionable to speak about, say, free relations between man and woman, or say other forms of, say, sexual behavior. So these were all prohibited, sort of censored, and nobody dared to speak about that. It was like, well, to behave irrationally or like an uneducated person, okay? So you were not received into well-educated, gentlemanly society if you promoted such views. Now the situation has drastically changed, okay? If you take contemporary England, of course, you will find no traces of what was there in the 19th century. That's how this I speak about that because to stress the innovation of Herbert Spencer, that he introduced some new ideas, yes, and at that time they seemed not only new but also dangerous. Well, he was not imprisoned, of course, but he created some tensions in England, okay? But little by little, even some friends of more, I would say, more broadly thinking friends of Charles Darwin, for example, Thomas Huxley, began to support Spencer. And already the sons and the grandsons of Thomas Huxley, for example, Julian Huxley and Aldous Huxley, the famous, you remember Aldous Huxley, the famous writer who wrote, for example, Brave New World. So they already were full of Spencerian ideas. And if you read the book Brave New World, you will find exact like social Darwinism practiced in a, well, future society. It's like utopia or anti-utopia. You can regard it as, you know, Brave New World, yes or not? Just Google it because now it's a film which is very popular. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Oh, this is a novel. It is staged now. It is a film, I think, with, how to say, a film which has many series. How do you call it? Uh, well, you understand, yes? a cereal. Yes, this like a cereal. Yes. Well, we call it cereal, Maria. Yes, in Russian. Well, can you say find an English equivalent? Cereal.
Yes, I suppose.
Usually it's just like TV series, no?
Yes, TV series. Yes, Brave New World. You can. It is just launched in how to say in the cinemas, so you can see it. This also it is built on the novel equalization of the novel screening. I say screening of the novel of Aldous Huxley. And Huxley is the grandson of Thomas Huxley, who was a friend of Charles Darwin. So you see that from Charles Darwin, there sort of there was like an evolution of Darwinism somehow. So Darwinism spread to human society, and I think Herbert Spencer, as the father of social Darwinism, played a great role here. Like you see a prime violin. Okay, okay. So this is the contribution of Herbert Spencer. Also, Herbert Spencer was very optimistic about the future. He said that by means of this natural selection in human society, people with bad qualities, for example, alcoholics or criminals, they will not be allowed to have progeny, to have children because of this selection. So you will not, of course, select a criminal for your husband. Okay, so this criminal will have no chance to give progeny, to give to sort of have children. And that's why in this natural selection those people with bad qualities will be sort of shut how to say um, uh, chased away from good society, and this will lead to extinction of crimes, alcoholism, drug addiction, and so on. Well, Herbert Spencer, in his book Social Statics, I can give you a citation if you want, wrote exactly that, that in 100 years there will be no crimes, no killings, no robberies, no violation of how to say, uh, no violence and so on. But now 100 years have passed and we still have these crimes, and we don't know what to do with that. So perhaps Spencer was a little bit too optimistic, okay? So we can regard, when 100 years pass after something was sort of prophesied, we can say whether the prophet was false or true, okay? Or prophecy was false or true. So we can say that Spencer didn't fit to be a good prophet. But what can we say now? That we have to find some other forms of positivism. And that will be the theme of our future lectures. So this we regarded this first positivism, but then there will come second positivism, and there will come also neo-positivism, and there will come also post-positivism. So positivism itself will develop, will change, because the first positivists, especially Kant and Spencer, were a little bit naive, you understand, a little bit too optimistic. They minimized or sort of didn't pay enough attention to the, how to say, pertinency of evil, or like uh, deep roots that evil passions have in human personality. And well, I think other scientists like Sigmund Freud, for example, they could, how to say, spread some additional light on human character. And when we add not only Darwinism but Freudianism or Freudism, then we will have, I think, a more like sober picture of what man is. Okay, so I promised Ningfei to have give him a floor, and he will speak about China, about science in China. Ningfei, are you ready to say a few words about China?
Not. I don't prepare very well.
What country, what city are you from? Please write in chat the city which are you from. Oh, Luoyang. Is it a big city?
Not very big.
But it has a university or not?
Yes, it has 3 universities.
3 universities in one city.
Yes.
What is the first university? Technical university, or what is it? Where can you study, for example, mathematics? Is there a mathematical faculty in one of these universities?
My previous major is environmental engineering. Now my major is biology.
But did you yourself study in the university in China? Or you came to Russia to study in the university?
Sorry?
The connection is not very good. Are you speaking from China or from Dolgoprudny?
From Dolgoprudny.
Okay. So the connection is bad because in Dolgoprudny they don't have good Wi-Fi. Okay. Yes. Thank you. So please prepare a brief presentation about science in China, maybe for future. Okay. Also, I think Lee is also from China. Yes, Lee. So please also prepare a brief presentation, or just say now a few words. What city are you from, and what are you?
I'm from Shanqiu, a small city from Henan province, in the middle of China.
In the middle of China. So do you have a big river nearby?
Big river?
A river. Yangtze. What is the river? You have no river.
No, we have no river in my country.
Where did you get water then, if you don't have a river?
From ground.
Ground, okay. So do you have in your city a university?
Yes, but I think the famous is normal university is just like how to say, not the top of the university. It's just
high school
or a university, but it's not the top of university, like Tsinghua or the Peking University.
And now you are doing science in Russia.
Yes.
This is life sciences, or what is it?
Biology.
Biology, yes. So we call it life sciences, yes?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, very good. So I think, well, we have enough. So if you want, you also can make a short presentation of about your city, show us some photos, the photo of the university, yes? Just for the future. So the same with, I think, Rilon. Rilon said that he will not attend our classes, but somehow he recovered, yes?
Okay.
Rilon, say, what country are you from?
I'm from Indonesia, Prof.
Indonesia, yes. I remember that you know what is the city of Darwin in Australia, yes?
Yes.
It's just opposite your your city in Indonesia?
In the
yes?
south. Yeah, it
Yes,
is in the
but
south.
you live in a small island, or you live in
Yes.
Jakarta?
No, I live in the small island, Ambon.
Yes, I remember. I looked at in the map. It's really very small,
Yes.
but full of people, nevertheless.
Yes.
I think there are a lot more Indonesians than Russians now. I think you have 200 million.
Yes, we are number 4 in the world. The
yes,
most
the Russians are
population.
lagging behind. Russians